what's up? Welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to show you guys how I do my encapsulated fill. So first I'm going to start out with a small bead, and I'm just going to apply that just above the cuticle. And as you can see, I'm gently tucking it back without overworking the acrylic, and then I'm going to flush the nude into the green while my acrylic is still wet. I never do an ombre with a dry bead because the transition is going to be horrible. After that, I'm just going to go ahead with some white, and I'm going to mix that in with some green to create a marble design. Whenever I'm creating a marble design, the color that you want to show more, you're going to put more off, and then the color that you want to show less, you're going to put less off. But when you're working with more pigmented colors, like for example white and green or white and a hot pink, you always want to use less of the hot pink every time because it's going to show up more. It's more pigmented and it's brighter. So whenever you're creating marble, and if it's a brighter color, use less of the brighter color. That way the marble, it doesn't overpower the rest of the colors. On the ring finger, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. I'm not trying to save the design that's underneath. I'm trying to create something new. So don't watch what I'm doing when I'm going ahead and I'm covering like the previous design, because I'm trying to switch the look up from what she had before. Again, I'm going to create another marble look, and when you're doing marble, you always want to work wet. When you work wet, the transition for the marble looks so good. The blend for the marble comes out much better. So when you're doing marble, you have to work wet. Also, for encapsulated designs, you have to bear in mind a few things. First thing you got to think about is you're going to apply charms or foils or glitter. So you always want to make sure you're thinking ahead of time and leave enough space for your charm and for your clear acrylic. So whenever you're working, you always have to think ahead. This client, she likes her nail thicker, so that is why I didn't go ahead and bat drill. But if it was like for another client, I would have bat drilled the nail all the way down. That way I wouldn't end up with like a thick nail, if that makes sense, because mind you, I have to do the marble and I have to come in with clear as well. So if it's a client that likes her nail thinner, I would have much more work to do because I have to bat drill all the way down. That way I have space for my charms and for the clear and for the nude. Encapsulated nail is a design technique where glitters, charms, and designs are sealed underneath clear acrylic, which means the design is you can, like, let's say for example hairstylists, it's best if they get encapsulated nails, because if you want to wear bling and you're a hairstylist, that means that the bling is going to be on top. So for encapsulated nails, they could wear this because you can put the charms underneath the clear acrylic and the surface of your nail will still be smooth, but they could still enjoy all the bling. You get what I'm saying? So encapsulated nails is like a very good way where people can wear blings and hairstylists can show out, because for me, a lot of my hairstylist clients get this design. And trust me, it works wonders, because if they don't want to be basic and they want to enjoy the designs, they definitely need to get encapsulated, because they could encapsulate flowers, they can encapsulate charms. And guys, now it's time, Christmas, all the snowflakes and stuff like that, you have to learn how to do encapsulate. When I'm creating a marble effect, I never expect all the marble looks to come out the same. Your marbles are never going to be the same. So even if, let's say, your client bring you a design and it's marble, you can just do your best to come as close as possible. But it is so hard to duplicate a marble design, like the exact marble look. So most times when my clients show me something, I just try to make, let's say the white is brighter. I just try to make sure that when I'm doing the marble, the white is brighter. Or if the pink was brighter on the picture that they showed me, when I'm doing the marble, I make sure that the pink is brighter. But it's never going to be a case where they get the exact same marble. Okay, so this is what we're working with after the marble, and I'm just going to use these flakes that I got off of Amazon. Trust me, they're on Amazon in so many different colors. silver, rose gold, gold. I think they even have them in black. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to pick my flakes up with my brush. And when you're picking your flakes up, you always want to make sure that your brush is wet. Either it's wet or you have some clear on it. After that, you want to make sure you pat it down. That way it doesn't move out of place. When I'm placing my flakes, I intentionally place my flakes because I don't want to just place them anywhere and then when the design comes out, nothing looks intentional. So when I'm placing any type of flakes or glitter, I try to visualize what I want it to look like in the end and place it accordingly. Whenever I place, I always use clear to hold the design in place, hold the flakes in place, hold the glitter in place, because if you do not, and when you come back to work with your clear to encapsulate everything, it is going to move. That is why you see me applying tiny bits of clear before I move on to the next finger, because I do not want this to move, and I'm going to leave each finger to dry after I go ahead and put the gold flakes on. I'm just gonna leave it to dry, and then I'm gonna come back with my clear and do my final encapsulation. So I do this in steps. So as you can see, first I did the fill with the nude, and then after that I do the marble, and then after I go ahead and I apply my flakes, applying tiny bit of clear over it, and then I'm just gonna let that sit, and then I'm gonna come back and do my clear. This step, everything is sealed and I'm not making a mess. In the past I used to just go ahead, apply the flakes, come back with my clear, and then everything just starts to move, and I hate that so much. So that is when I decided that I'm just going to do everything in steps, and that worked out so much better for me. And trust me, you save so much time when you do it like that. At first, when I used to look at it, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna waste so much time moving and then having to come back. But listen, you save time doing it this way. And this is what I mean when I say you have to visualize what everything is going to be like in the end, and how much products you really need to apply. That way you have to bat drill, because you guys see I already did the marble, now I'm doing the flakes, and I still have to come back in with clear. So can you imagine how much I'm building on this? So if somebody wants a fill and you got to do an encapsulation, if that person does not like thicker nail, you have to bat drill as much as possible before you come in with your encapsulated design. And encapsulation too is one design that will trick you into thinking, okay, I have enough room, or I can keep applying charms and clear, and then when you get to the end you're like, god damn it, everything is so thick, because you're applying the clear acrylic, so it's not really showing like that. So it's just you in the back of your head have to be mindful of what you are doing. Also, when you're doing encapsulated design, you have to make sure that the clear that you're using, it makes sense, because sometimes you're finished with the design and when you come in with your top coat, the design is not showing, your glitters are not showing, your flake is not showing, and then that kind of takes away from the end result. Sometimes clients, they already have a vision of what they want everything to look like, and then when this is not showing up underneath, it's kind of irritating. So you want to always make sure that you're using a good clear acrylic. This one that I'm using, this is from 876 Nails, of course, and this clear is not yet on my website, but it's coming very, very, very soon. It's called Crystal Clear, and you're going to see why it's called Crystal Clear in the end when I apply that top coat and everything just starts popping out 3D. You're gonna see why it's called Crystal Clear. Like, I really, really love this clear acrylic. The brush that I'm using is a number 12 Kolinsky brush. You always want to make sure that when you're using a brush, it's 100% Kolinsky, because any other brush, the acrylic will get trapped into the brush very easy, and then you're going to constantly have to buy a new brush. Also, take care of your brush, because if you don't take care of the brush, it doesn't matter the brand, it doesn't matter the hair that it's made of, the bristles, nothing. Every time I'm done working, I wipe my brush from the monomer to the paper towel. It does not take long. All I do is let my brush sit in the monomer even for like 30 seconds, and then I wipe it in my paper towel. Okay, now it's time for the sealing, and this is the encapsulation part. So this basically, the encapsulation is applying the clear over the design. Mind you, when you come into drill, you do not want your drill to drill into your design, which is why you have to apply enough clear, which is also why you have to be mindful from the beginning that you leave enough space. Because if when you're trying to encapsulate your design, you're like, oh my gosh, it's too thick. It's too thick, yes, but you still have to apply the clear. So now what are you going to do? Because if you do not encapsulate this, when you go to drill, you're going to drill all the encapsulation away. Even with ombre, like for example this middle finger, you have to encapsulate your ombre. If you do not encapsulate the ombre, your transition is going to mess up. Where transition, let's say from the nude to the green, you're going to drill into that. So that is why it's important to encapsulate, and that is why when you're working with glitters, especially in charms and flakes, you have to make sure that you leave enough space for your clear acrylic. Also, when you're working with clear acrylic, you always want to make sure that you're working on the wet side, because especially for encapsulation, if your bead is too dry, the design is going to appear cloudy because the bead is so dry. When the bead is wet, the design shows up so much better underneath. Also, when the bead is dry, you get a lot of bubbles and those little like grainy looking thing. That's because maybe you're working too dry. So encapsulation, make sure that the bead is on the wet side, and also try to work with smaller beads as well, because usually when you work with big bead, it starts to cure, and then by the time you get to the end, it's, you know, probably gonna be foggy. So work with smaller beads and wetter beads when you are encapsulating. The shape we're doing today is square, or more slightly like a tapered square vibe. And like I told you guys before, whenever I'm doing a square shape, I always make sure that the side walls is lined up with the free edge, and this is how I get my square. You have to hold the hand file completely straight. Just place the file up against the nail, and when you're shaping, look at it and make sure that it's coming straight from the side walls all the way out to the free edge. The free edge should not be flared off, because then that's going to be kind of like a duck shape. You want to keep that free edge in line with your side wall. That way everything looks nice and neat. To file my edges, my free edge, I like to go up and down, because when I go up and down, that just gives me a sharper look other than going side by side. I really prefer going up and down. And I'm using a 100 grit hand file. You can use a 80 works much faster, but this is all I had, the 100. It still works. Some people hate working with the 80 and some people love to work with it, but for me, I'm just now starting to like 80 files. Usually I'm always using 100. But when I checked my website and I saw that most people, they purchase the 80 file, that's when I got curious, and I'm like, let me see what's up with 80. And I get it. It gets the job done way faster. And like I always say, time is money. So whatever gets the job done fast and precise and neat, love it. I'm always here for it. Also, when you are shaping, do not forget to file the underside of the nail, because if you do not file underneath like this, the nail on top is not going to appear straight. Sometimes the shape seems off because there's a lot of nail hanging underneath, so it's reflecting on top. So if you find yourself, you feel like you have your side straight, your free edge straight, but something still looks off, what you need to do is tilt the client's finger sideways and go at an angle and get the sides up straight in line. Like there shouldn't be no hanging nail on the sides. Everything needs to look nice and straight. That way that will reflect on top as well. That contributes to how your shape looks, to be honest. Before I start shaping, I always use an old file and score the edge of my new file. That way the file is not so sharp. So I just use an old file and go over the edges of the new file. That way I don't cut my clients very easy, because the last thing I want to do is slice my client. That just looked like it hurts so bad. So to prevent this, I just use my old file, go over the edges of the new file, and that usually gets the job done. If you cut your client, I'm expecting all of us to have something that we use to stop the blood or stop it from bleeding, which I do have. I'm gonna leave the link in the description. Something that I use if I cut my client, I just drip a little bit and it clots immediately. Everybody needs to have that, because you know, accident happens and I don't want to be there filing and my client, the blood keeps coming out. I don't want that, no. So yeah, I'm gonna leave the links. If you don't have something, go ahead and get something to stop the blood. If you cut your client, just stop it from bleeding like so much. It really clots it super fast. So go ahead and get one, baby love, if you don't have any. This is how everything looks. This is what we are working with. Now it's time to drill. Now when I'm drilling, I have to make sure that I am sealing the cuticle. That way the nail doesn't lift. And as you can see, I zoomed in so you guys can get a close-up look of how close I get to the cuticle and how I'm positioning my bit. My bit is at an angle. It's not straight up, because if it's all the way straight, and between the cuticle and the nail right there, you have to remember the client's nail is right there. So if the bit is up too much, you can slice into your client's nail. You don't want that. So keep your bit at an angle at all times. And when you're going over the surface of the nail, hold the drill bit completely flat like you see that I'm doing. This way, when you're holding the bit flat, the bit is going to connect throughout the entire nail and give it an even surface. So when the bit is flat, basically what you're doing is forcing everything to come together. I always use my pinky finger to rest on my client's nail or my nail, just to keep the drill stable, because I don't want it running around the client's finger, scaring me or scaring my client. And as you can see, I'm going on the underside with my drill as well, because I want to give this a thinner look. So what I'm doing is I'm thinning out the free edge, and I'm also thinning out the sides. So the appearance of the nail is not going to be super thick, even though it's not super thick, but it's on the thicker side, just because the job that she does, and she doesn't come in like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. She comes in every 6 weeks. So, you know, just to prevent breaking and stuff like that, we usually do them a bit thicker. This bit that I'm using is a medium panna bit. However, this is not a safety bit, but I'm still going to leave the link in the description box just in case you are interested. But if you are a nail technician that is scared to get in the sidewalls and in the cuticle, scared that you might cut your client, you can always use a safety bit. And what I would recommend as well is, after you use your safety bit, you just come in with your cuticle bit and you go around the sides and the cuticle and make sure that it's properly sealed. That way you do not have lifting. When I drill, I usually drill at like 19,000-20,000 RPMs. You do not have to start drilling at 19,000-20,000. I probably started at like 12,000, and then daily I just increase the speed the more I have control over the drill. As you can see, while I'm drilling, the flakes are not going away. That is because everything is encapsulated properly underneath the clear. So that's the whole point of an encapsulated design. If you like this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. and share this video with someone that you think would enjoy content like this. And also let me know, please, like what do you want to see me do next. I already recorded a fire ass video for the next upload, so stay tuned for that. And like I said, all the products that I use in this video, this nude is not available on my website. This is one of my old acrylic colors, but I have a few options of nudes and pinks on my website as well. So if you're looking for nudes and pink acrylics, you can always go ahead. The link is going to be left in the description as well for all the stuff that's available on my website, including the hand files and all the products that I use in this video. This week I did a photo shoot, guys. I don't even know, but listen, I was so tired yesterday. The shoot started at like 12:30 and I didn't get done until 5. I was busted at the end of the day, but I'm happy that I got up and did what I needed to do. And the shoot was for my crystal clear acrylic that I use in this video, and it's also for this soft, sexy, milky white that I have coming out. Is called Lace Me, and this is the first time I'm ever speaking of the name. Yeah, so you guys are the first to hear that. The name is Lace Me. So soft, guys. Like, have you ever seen white but it's just so loud? And then you see some white sometimes like, oh, that is so cute. This is the white that is elegant. Oh my gosh, I can't wait for you guys to see it. Okay, enough of the talking about the white, because I'll just sit here and give it away. But I do post it on my Instagram stories all the time too. So if you follow me on Instagram, y'all already know what the white looks like. But yeah, yesterday was the photo shoot and my head was killing me. I asked the photographer, like, yo, do you have a water? He was like, don't. I'm like, how you don't have a water, bro? And this is a whole photo shoot. Like, I had to Uber eat something. Then the Uber driver couldn't find the damn location. I had to leave the studio, go on the side of the street, trying to let the Uber driver find me. And it was just a whole mess. And I had to ask for like a little break to eat, because I feel like I was about to pass out. You hear me? So yeah, that was my day. Photo shoot yesterday, and I didn't really enjoy it because I was hungry, thirsty, and tired. But I pushed through, and I learned a lot yesterday. You know, the photographer honestly wasn't what I was expecting, to be honest with you. I just saw his work on Instagram and I thought he had very nice pictures, so I decided that I'm going to use him. But it just didn't give what I thought it was going to give. But you know, I appreciated his time and everything. You know, I respect people's effort at the end of the day. But it's just that I had a whole different expectation. You know, you walk in, you're like, oh, where do I put my clothes? Can I get a water? And nothing was basically available. But yeah, I'm okay. I mean, I'm a gangster girl, so I usually roll with anything, to be honest. Things doesn't bother me like that until it really bothers me. Like yesterday, I really needed that water, so it was like, I'm thirsty and I really have to do water through a Uber Eats, and that water was like $3, almost $4, and I bought 2. Yeah, I wasn't so happy with that. But anyways, everything came out good. So this is me putting the top coat on, and look at that reveal, guys. Like, the top coat going on just showed me how fire this clear actually is, because before I used clear acrylics and the design just wasn't popping. I was like, dang, how the glitter not popping, how's the flakes not popping, all that stuff. So when I saw that this actually works, I was so excited, even though I already know it works. Of course, it's my product, but it's my first time actually doing like a whole full set with it. I tested it before, like on myself and like on a what you call it, on an accent nail, but not on my clients on a full set of encapsulation. So when I saw this, I was legit screaming like, yes girl, that is yours. Yeah, so happy. So this is the final results, guys. Give the video a thumbs up and let me know how you feel, and I hope you learned something from this video and you have some type of takeaway or a different view about encapsulated design. And like I said before, let me know what other design you want to see me doing. I would love to do more encapsulated design because it's the holiday season, and you know we're going to be doing a lot of snowflakes and charms and glitter. It's the glitter season. So whenever my clients come in and they're looking for glitter nails or encapsulated nails, I'm gonna make sure that I record it because that's definitely the season we're in. And I always wipe the sides of my nail just to keep the shape, because you know the clear be running and I don't want to spoil the shape. And this is the final look. Thank you guys for watching. Give the video a thumbs up. Bye. You